This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
This is a two-part episode, so if you're checking in here and haven't heard part one, go back to the feed, check out part one before you listen to this portion. Respect is one of those things that's really funny to me. And when I was the keynote speaker at the NAPS conference, and one of the things that I said during my keynote the first night was, people think that this industry, pet sitting, is cute. They're like, oh my God, you're a pet sitter. And they have absolutely no idea what goes into it. It's 24/7. It's 7 days a week. It's in people's homes when they're not there. It's unsupervised access to an unfamiliar pet. It is dangerous. It is vulnerable. It is emotionally and physically taxing. There's so much more to it. And I said, joking around, I was like, our clients are like 9-to-5ers with benefits. And if anything is cute, that's cute. Being a 9-to-5er where you show up to work, do your thing and leave, and you get benefits, that's adorable, because a business owner has a lot more grit than that.
Well, and being self-employed, if you don't work, you don't get paid, right?
Exactly.
So after 19 years, I've had people say, oh, we're so glad you're taking time off. And then there's other people that well, it's Labor Day weekend. You can take Labor Day weekend. Oh, well, I can.
Yeah, and I will. Watch me.
Oh, I did that once. I took Labor Day, and one year I took 4th of July off. And it's like, you know what? No one is promised a tomorrow. I love what I do. And the lady from the rescue years ago that helped me get into this industry, she always said, when it stops being fun, it's time to get out.
Yeah.
And to me, there's many more pros than cons of being a professional pet sitter, but there are some days that you just kind of go, man.
It's a lot of work. And I think anybody who is looking and forgetting.
Like you said, I don't think Joe Q Public, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, I don't think Mr. and Mrs. Jones really understand what it is we do and how invested we get into their pets. Just like rescue and veterinary care, the compassion fatigue that runs rampant. I think in our industry, it's not so much burnout, is more of compassion fatigue.
Yeah.
The pet loss alone, it's like losing one of your own. It really is. And, maybe I'm just a little more sensitive to that, but you don't want a pet sitter that is just looking for a paycheck.
No, because then they're in the wrong industry. Anybody who's looking for just a paycheck is in the wrong industry. Like I always used to say when I was interviewed and things, when I ran my professional pet sitting business, I was like, I speak 3 languages fluently. I could be doing anything I wanted. But I've chosen, to be a professional pet sitter. There are so many people who were CPAs, attorneys, banking professionals, all these things that have chosen the professional pet sitting industry because it fills them. It's our calling, it's our passion, it's our vocation, but it doesn't diminish who we are as professionals. And it does not mean we don't have other options. We have plenty of other options. It just happens to be that this is where our joy is. And I really do say that, there are a lot of people who get a lot more respect in other industries or make a lot more money in other industries that are not half as dedicated as a professional pet sitter is.
Oh.
And that's why I like to bring attention to the industry, because it's like the ugly stepchild of the pet industry. Like it really gets no love, no respect. Like dog trainers are like so important. Obviously, veterinarians are doctors. Vet techs have some kind of medical training. Groomers have to be so technical and they have to know all these, cuts and breed cuts and things. And like, no disrespect to all of those people. They're amazing. But so are professional pet sitters.
Well, you know what? Because I'm not fear-free certified. But, there is a whole fear-free thing that groomers and vets and pet sitters are responsible for everybody. But I think experience, and having dealt with behavioral veterinarians, at conferences and having trainers and behaviorists, doing that continuing education, about considerate approach and, how do you approach a dog or a cat or this or that? These are things that we apply or that we've been doing for years and never even realized we were doing it. Now it's kind of come to, the forefront. But, these are things that hopefully will, I joke with people and say, look, I am not a dietitian and nutritionist, a vet tech or a veterinarian, a behaviorist or a trainer, and I've never played one on TV. But, my years of experience between my own personal pets who were rescues and had their quirks, and some clients, families of dogs that were working with trainers that went on their, midday clients. Well, what are you working on? What can I do to help reinforce this behavior?
Yes, exactly. In the home, in the same place where they're learning the skill that's so important with a different handler.
Exactly. I met with a new client the other day. I'm going to start care with them tomorrow. And one dog eats in another room because she will, shark the smaller dogs. And she has a command that says, go to your bowl. And she will literally go to another room in the house and wait there for her bowl to be put down.
Oh.
And I'm happy to say that she's a rescue that was adopted from a Doberman rescue that I helped support for years when I used to do the Santa. Because I walked in there and I'm like, those are Adapt Rescue Martingale collars. I know them anywhere. She's like, yeah, we adopted Taylor from Adapt. I'm like, oh my God. So that made me happy. But, I like you said, pet sitting is not for the faint of heart. Pet sitters are a breed unto ourselves. And word to pet parents out there, we don't want to be difficult. We want to be good at what we do. And by being good at what we do, sometimes we have to ask the difficult questions and make the difficult decision. And it's not a matter of want or have to. Sometimes it's just not the right thing. And, you don't want someone who's not comfortable doing something you're asking to do.
No.
Because your dog's going to pick up on that.
Yeah.
And who benefits in that? Sure, I'll get a paycheck for you being gone for a week. But I'm not going to come into your house 3 times a day and stress your dog out.
No. Or stress myself out. Like, it's not worth it. So it's funny because I feel like pet sitters don't get that much respect. I've been in the industry for 16 years now. I'm a journalist and writer now specializing in the pet industry. But for 12 plus years, I was a professional pet sitter. We did 100,000 pet sits in over 10 years. And I managed all that. I was the founder and general manager. And the other day I was having coffee with friends and one of my friends was sharing a frustration with her new dog that they just rescued. They found her on the street. They took her in and she's an escape artist. And the first question I asked was, is she spayed? And my friends were surprised that I asked such a good question. She is not spayed. She's looking for boyfriends. And you know what's funny? My friends were shocked that I had such a good question to ask. And I'm like, do you know what I do for a living? So it's one of those things that people don't understand until it's like one of those situations where you intrinsically just know the answer. You intrinsically know what to ask. You intrinsically know how to approach the dog because you have 19 years of experience. So it just works. Whereas the kid next door who's calling himself a professional pet sitter who's 19 years old doesn't have the life experience, the pet experience, the home experience that you would have at 61, 19 years in. So I feel like if anything you can take away from this, like if there's one thing you can take to the bank from this episode, it's experience matters. It makes us the professionals that we are. The years actually do count. But we say in Spanish, the devil is the devil, not because he's the devil, but because he's old. And like, because he has that life experience, the devil knows what he's doing because the devil is old. And it's really true. Like, we know what we're doing because we've been in it for as long as we have. 19 years. Bravo.
There's 3 words that I don't like: normal, perfect, and expert. There's no such thing as normal because everybody's norm is different, right?
True.
There's no such thing as a perfect person or perfect dog or cat or
Never.
expert. Back in my youngin' days, one of my first jobs, I worked as a recruiter, a headhunter for computer programmers. I knew absolutely nothing about computer programming, but I had my little script and do you do this and do that. And I remember the person that ran the agency said, Scott, he's like, don't let any of these programmers tell you they're an expert in anything. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, let me tell you what an expert is. An X is nothing more than a has-been, and a spurt is a drip under pressure. He said, don't ever let them tell you they're an expert in everything. So look, I am not an expert in professional pet sitting. I am not perfect. I'm human. But I would like to think I'm good at what I do.
Yes, you are.
Very sincere, and I'm very detail-oriented when it comes to getting all the facts about people's pets when I meet them and their house. And, again, what I'm comfortable doing, what I'm not comfortable doing. And anybody that's just going to go to a potential pet client's home and just go, that may not be the person for you either. I don't want to give people pushback, but like I said, if I'm not 100% comfortable doing something, look, I don't like shared care. I don't like someone else being in the home when they're gone. I worry about pool services and yard services because of gates and things like that. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to tell someone you cannot have someone in your home, but in my service contract, I have a third-party liability clause that they have to initial, acknowledging that I will not assume liability to their home or their pet,
Yeah, the only dog that ever got lost at the Wag Pack was a dog that was let out to the yard by the new door people. Like, they were installing new sliding doors to the backyard, and one of the other guys left the gate open in the backyard, and I got there to walk the dog, and he was gone, and he was 15 years old and should not have been on an adventure around the neighborhood, and thankfully somebody found him before he got hit by a car. But yeah, like, there are, again, the devil is the devil, not because he's the devil, but because he's old. Like, we learn by doing, and by doing, we know that these landscapers, as much as they tell you that they will be careful with the door, they don't have a routine of being careful with the door, so they may make a mistake, and your pet could pay the ultimate price for that mistake.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, driving around town, I keep telling people, I drive around in circles all day and go nowhere, but the stops along the way are fun. I mean, I can't tell you how many dogs I have picked up. Thank God they had collars and tags on that did get out because the pool service was there or the yard service was there. And people like, oh no, he's in our backyard. I said, no, he's not. They might cur, And then I say, oh, by the way, I'm a pet sitter. Here's your dog and here's my card,
Nice.
No, he's in the backyard. No, he's not.
Oh, Lord.
Is your dog named, Charlie? Uh-huh.
Yep.
Is he a black lab? Uh-huh. Does he have a blue collar on? Uh-huh. He's not in your backyard, We see it all. And again, when you talk to people, I think experience matters. I am a totally different pet sitter than I was in 2005. I'm a different pet sitter than I was in 2022.
Oh, of course.
I joke and say, we become shapeshifters sometimes,
Yeah.
in more ways than one. But things that happen, you kind of have, I don't want to say an epiphany, but you have those aha moments and you say, well, wow, and living in the Houston area with hurricanes and things like that, you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And again, a deal breaker, again, would be a client that's not on board with a backup plan.
Yes.
I had a client during Hurricane Ike. We were without power for 2 weeks. They're like, well, we're not coming back till we have power.
Their sense of responsibility when you're a professional in somebody's home is really big. It's a really big sense of responsibility. It's a big ask to have somebody in your home who's supposed to be there 3 times a day to now become your handyman, your emergency contact. I remember we had an earthquake in Northern Virginia, which is not common. And my dog walker was like, I went to everybody's basements to make sure that everything was okay. Like, we didn't sign up for that.
I have a thing on my intake form, about an HVAC company, a plumber, an electrician. You know how damn hot it gets here in the summer? I would hate for a house to get to 90 plus degrees. I have a lot of the brachiocephalic pets, a lot of Frenchies and bulldogs and some boxers that I care for that, they just don't do the heat well, and Well, they can't. No, so I mean, I don't want to be in a 90-degree house either. But, I mean, I tell people, look, I can't fix these things, but I could prevent them from getting worse. And, when people travel and they're on a cruise ship or out of the country and there's time differences or, and some people just don't want to be bothered while they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're paying for a premium service, you know that you're going to get that,
Right.
what you paid for at least, right? And then when you choose the right person, you're going to get even more than that if there's an emergency. Okay, so we've got to wrap it up now, but how can my audience learn more about you, especially if they're in Kingwood, Texas?
Well, my website is petsit.com/PTPS for Personal Touch Pet Sitting. I'm on Facebook for both Personal Touch Pet Sitting and Scott Black. And I am very passionate about what I do, if that hasn't come across. And I just love to talk about the pet sitting industry. Even if someone was considering getting into the industry, I would be willing to speak with you about what you need to do first.
Do it right.
I wish I knew then what I know now. And actually, between you and I am seriously thinking about reaching out to solopreneurs now, not as a mentor or a coach, because I don't want to get paid to do this.
Right.
But more of an accountability partner that, let me help you not make the mistakes I made years ago. Or even now, people starting out in the industry, don't make it more work than it is. Don't overthink it. I think as well as I, is sometimes keeping things simple works best across the board. In my business, these are my policies. I don't have packages. You're paying for 30 minutes of my time at this price. Midday dog walks are 30 minutes. If it's too hot, we are outside for 10, inside for 20, or in the backyard in the shade. Drop-in pet visit, 30 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day. Same price. You only need me twice a week instead of 5 days a week. Is this price? I don't discount. You're paying for my time,
Yeah.
My policies are pretty upfront and straight and forward. What I'm comfortable doing, what I'm not comfortable doing. Keep it simple.
Yeah. You went through the process of having policies, enforce them. And if you hire a professional pet sitter with policies, expect them to enforce them. Because I remember one of the funniest conversations I had with a client was, I understand having policies, but enforcing them? And I was like, why would I have policies if I wasn't planning to enforce them?
Talk about a deal breaker. And I don't know if you're going to edit this in or out, but someone called me, you come so highly recommended. I went to your website and it says you're insured. And they're like, yes, sir, I am. How much are you insured for? I'm like, that's none of your business.
They were trying to commit insurance fraud there.
Well, either that or like this guy is a litigious, person is looking to find something wrong that I just don't think we're a really good fit.
No, of course not. It's not a good fit. And when it's not a good fit, when people start fighting you already. And if you, as a pet parent, have a really important buying factor where you really do have a pet with a specific medication that has to be given at some time, specifically during the day, and your pet sitter, the person you're calling, is not willing to work with you, then that too is a deal breaker. So there's deal breakers on both sides. The idea, and I'll wrap this up since we've been on for so long, but the idea of a professional pet sitter, in my opinion, and I think you'll agree, Scott, is that you do that whole intake and you get to know each other initially, but then it becomes a long-lasting relationship. So there's no back and forth. You did your due diligence at first, and so now, for me, it's 5 years later and I still have the same pet sitting company because I did my due diligence then. And now I just go on, I email them, I request, the dates. The same person comes over. He knows what we do. I know what he does. We have an established relationship. So that's really the goal. The goal is not to, make something work. The goal is to find a good match. Kind of like dating, Absolutely. Where it will be a long-term relationship.
Well, and again, part of my whole process is I don't even go and do a meet and greet. I don't put dates on my calendar until I have a meet and greet scheduled, because that's a commitment. But I tell people, I said, look, even though you've given me a bunch of information about the routines and this and that, I said, when I come, I said, I am not going to rush through this. Let's at least schedule a minimum of an hour. I know pet sitters right now, if they heard this, their heads would explode. They do a 30-minute, 45-minute meet and greet and they're done.
That's long. I mean, honestly, that's long. I remember some of my pet sitters would go in and out in 15 minutes. Like the pet parent was like, bye. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Do you know where the recycling bin is? Do you know where the extra bags?
Well, you talk about a dog that may not let you in the house, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, you know what? The longer I'm there, the more comfortable he or she they can hear me. They can smell me. They see that I'm not a threat to the house. Oh my God, like this dog Taylor, she brought me, not that I was afraid of her. I mean, Dobermans are the biggest babies, but she brought me a tennis ball. And then she brought me another one. And then she went and got him and had 2 tennis balls in her mouth. I said, oh, you're so mean and vicious, No, but to me, I say, please, let's allot the time. I said, I'm not going to rush through this. This is only going to benefit the pets and myself.
Everybody.
And you know what? I don't charge for the meet and greets. I know that's a hot topic in the industry. But you know what? Who benefits at the end? The pets and I do.
Yeah.
I'm not going in there stressed. They're not going to pick up on the stress. Again, to me, it's a win-win. I'm one of those people that I don't want this, I want this. And, whatever I need to do that. There's some things, like I said, I may not agree to do. And then that's just not my ideal client, and then we get into the whole ideal client thing is, to me, the ideal client is the person that respects you as a business owner, that respects your experience and your knowledge, but keeping in mind that you're not a veterinarian and you're not this and you're not that, but the credentials you have hopefully support what I would consider what a true professional pet sitter is. And, your experience, someone doing this for 10 years versus 5 years or 15 years versus 10 years, or, hey, I know sitters and some of these people too from the organizations that are doing this up to 30 years already.
Yes.
Or pet sitting was even a thing.
Yes.
And they had no place to find out how to do this. And we're lucky. I mean, I look back and say, man, if I knew then or if things were available then that are available to people now, it'd be easy peasy. But no matter how we slice it, whether you have staff or you're solo, you were the face of your business. And I'm the face of my business. And it's hard to separate the two, I think, when you're solo, because you are the business and the business is you. But getting back to the respect is when people respect the fact that I need to remove myself from the business to take some time for Scott. There's some people that just don't. Is that your ideal client? Or you can't take a holiday? Oh, yeah, I can.
No, my ideal clients were always the ones who supported the business. So they would obviously schedule if we had an event that we were supporting, they would support it too. If we did a podcast, they would listen to it. If we sent out a newsletter, they would open it. Those were my ideal clients because they understood that I was putting so much effort into building this business and into providing these services, into training my team, into meeting everybody's expectations, that they wanted to just celebrate and benefit from all the effort that I was making. So I can think of specific clients that I will forever remember who sent me checks during the pandemic. It was like $700 here to tide you over. Maybe we'll schedule something in the fall. That's the ideal client, the one that believes in what you're doing is so important.
I had a client during COVID that Zelled me money, and I'm like, okay. And I looked at the amount and I was like, oh my God. So I called her and I said, hey, I think you hit the wrong contact or payee. She goes, Scott, we, had to cancel these trips. And I said, yeah. I said, it's not your fault. The country of Italy shut down. I said, there is no way I'm sending this back. She said, don't you dare.
Yeah.
She goes, we want to make sure you're okay. And I said, well, when things open up again, you're going to have a hell of a credit. She goes, oh, no, we won't. She goes, I will ask for my key back. Don't go there. We want to be able to help support.
Yeah.
They were self-employed too, but he was still able to work. He was in construction and
Oh, good.
big building construction. He was still able to work, you know. She's like, no, she goes, we want to help you. And I had another daily client. She was only a 3-time-a-week client, and she kept paying me. I said, will you please stop?
Yes, we had that too.
Please, please. I said, I appreciate it, but, we're okay. Once we started getting the stuff through,
Exactly.
the
Department of Labor or whatever it was. Yes.
Yeah. I said, thank you, but we're good. We're good. I had more people check in on me. How you doing? You okay? Like,
Those are the ideal clients.
yes, they are. They are. And there's something about this industry where it is hard to stay within the boundary of keeping it professional. But most of these people that reached out to me were people that started with me years ago.
Yeah.
That I've seen their dogs go from puppies to seniors.
Exactly.
And their kids graduate high school or get married, or so they are family in many ways. And I appreciate people checking up on me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they appreciate you because it's symbiotic. They appreciate you too. Because we see as professional pet sitters, like you said, cancer diagnoses, surgeries that lay people up for weeks. We see divorces. We see children struggling with addiction. We see a lot of things because you become part of the family. You are part of the pet care team, but it's an in-home pet care team. So you're there. You might overhear conversations. You might see soup cake.
We are like a bartender and a beautician. People just feel comfortable talking to us.
Yes, exactly.
So here's a little tip, though, real quick.
Okay.
The pet parents, tell them not to buy a plane or a train ticket or book a hotel until they check with their pet sitter first.
Yes, exactly.
I have mine trained. I said, please don't buy a plane ticket and then call me and say you're going away. Check with me first.
Especially not a non-refundable ticket or non-changeable ticket.
Yeah.
Agreed. Don't wait till the last minute. Plan with your pet sitter. Always know that availability.
I had someone reach out to me for Thanksgiving already. And she goes, is it too early? I said, it's never too early. I said, God willing, I'll still be breathing, but
you're one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't take stuff that far out because most of our business was midday dog walking. So for pet sitting, I wasn't necessarily sure about my staff. So I didn't want to book out more than 2 to 3 months. But the second that opened up, it was like, Thanksgiving is open. Start requesting.
Back in the day, I used to hold spots for people that traveled every holiday and then they stopped traveling. I said, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
First come, first serve.
Exactly.
And people know that. So that I fill up quick and that I'm only going to be able to do what I can do.
You're one person. Exactly.
Well, and that's just it. And I will never compromise the quality of care over quantity.
Yeah.
And I always want to make sure that when that client calls me and says, Scott, we've got a sick family member, someone passed away, I want to be able to say, I got it covered, go, not, oh my God, I'm so overbooked as it is. To be honest, as I'm getting older, I had a little bit of an epiphany during COVID as a solo sitter, I was doing 18, 20, 22 visits a day between midday dog walks and dropping pet sits. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm good with about 16 as a busy day. I'm shaking my moneymaker, girl.
That's a lot. That's a lot. So long as it's sustainable where it's like a short period of time, but it's not sustainable 365 days a year.
Oh, no. It wasn't like that every day, but there were some days that, the holidays and stuff like that,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
short period. But, for the most part, like right now, today was a very light day for me. I do have to go back out in about an hour, but, overall, it's a light day. But, I embrace those too, because it gives me time to kind of just regroup. The mornings that I don't have bedtime visits and then have to get up for a morning visit, where I could sleep in a little bit with my own dogs, it's even better. So then you're busy during the day, and then, someone says, hey, we're going to be in town. Can you do a dinner visit for us? Well, sure, And that's another thing, too, that I think pet sitters need to share with their clients, again, depending on their business model. I just don't do midday dog walks and vacation sitting. If you become an established client and, God forbid you get stuck somewhere,
Yeah.
You guys just are gone for an extended period of time and need a midday let out, or you want to go to the theater, but you work downtown and you're just going to go right to the theater from work. Sure, I'll come and do a dinner visit.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to going out for one visit if I'm already out making other dinner visits. Now, but there are sitters out there that just won't go out for one visit or won't do this or won't do that. And I think that one visit could become a long-time client, or those that only will do a minimum of 3 midday walks a week, that they're not going to take on business. Well, those midday clients are going to become vacation clients.
Yeah.
Don't rule that out. You know what I mean? So to me, there's no job too big or too small for me. If I can provide quality care, whether it's one visit a day for a cat or one midday visit walk a week because they only work one day a week, or they volunteer at the hospital and they're gone all day, or whatever else it is, I mean, to me, it's a win-win. I'm still providing a service to someone that sees the value in it. And that's what it comes down to.
Absolutely. And I just want to propose a toast to you, because I really do think you've painted the picture of what this relationship between a pet parent and a pet sitter should be. It should be symbiotic. It should be a win-win for everybody. So cheers. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with me.
My pleasure, my friend.
I also want to propose a toast to my executive producer, Mark Winter. Thank you, Mark. And to our audience for joining us for these awesome conversations. This is a deep dive into pet sitting, because you are looking at two people who love the pet sitting industry and want to see it thrive and want to see more pet parents take advantage of the benefits of having a long established relationship with a professional pet sitter, elevating the industry, elevating pet parenting, elevating everything that matters to all of us, which is a life covered in pet hair, because there's no better way to live. Cheers! To learn more about Covered in Pet Hair, please visit coveredinpethair.com or petliferadio.com. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to rate us on Apple Podcasts and wherever you get your podcasting shows, because I want to reach more pet parents, and the more 5-star ratings you give us, the more pet parents I can reach. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.